Hello everyone, Adelina here for EllenHutson.com, sharing a process video for 3 gift card packaging ideas using the Essentials by Ellen animal box toppers and parcel box die. The first project features a free treat bag template that was part of an August blog post on the Ellen Hutson blog. I'll include a link to that post in the description below. I'm using a gift tag die by the Stamp Market with red and white striped cardstock from the Avery L. Holiday Collection paper pad. The treat bag is cut from one of the Essentials by Ellen Modern Graphics paper pack patterns. There's also a pattern that looks like snowfall that would be really great with this project. I die cut the white parts of the bear from some 110-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock. I assembled him using liquid adhesive and my tweezers. Those little tiny bits for his eyes and nose are kind of hard to manage with my fingers, so I always opt to try to use the tweezers whenever possible. Then I punched a hole in the top of a rectangular piece of cardstock where I stamped the sentiment, and I used my paper cutter to trim it so that it would attach nicely to the top of that tag. When I positioned the bear on the bottom of the tag, I made sure to leave enough room for that sentiment so it wouldn't be covered when I attached it. Now you can see me here. I started to tie the tag at the top and then decided that I had enough string to actually wrap the twine all the way around the treat bag and attach the tag at the top that way. I just thought having that little bit of texture at the bottom would be a nice little added touch for this packaging. This gift bag is perfectly sized for not only your gift card, but a nice little treat for your recipient. For this next project, I used the parcel box die and die cut it from a 6x6 piece of patterned cardstock. This is that same cardstock from the holiday collection that I used on the gift tag. And so the parcel box die is 6 1/8 wide, so it doesn't completely fit on a 6x6 piece of cardstock. But the area on those side flaps that doesn't fit isn't going to affect the overall design at all. So you can definitely use this die with your 6x6 paper pads. So once I die cut this, I made all the folds on the scored lines and then snipped those tiny flaps so that they would fold over completely. And you can see the deer animal topper is die cut from some Essentials by Ellen wood grain cardstock. I thought that would be a nice pattern cardstock for the deer. So as I was folding the parcel box and I started to close the back, I decided that I wanted a smaller gap in that back area. So I took my scissors and snipped the shorter flaps at an angle so that the back of the box would have less of a gap. Does that make sense? It'll make sense here in a second. So when I close that up, you see that there is less of a gap when it's closed. And so that's exactly what I wanted. And so the next thing I did is take a hole punch and punch a hole on either side of those flaps at the edge. You see me there trying to measure to find the center, and it's a rough center. I'm not looking for perfection here. And so I punched a little hole, and that's going to serve as the area where I'm going to tie some twine to close the box once it's completed. The next thing I did is position this deer head with some liquid adhesive on the front of the parcel box. And I like to use liquid adhesive so that I have a little wiggle room once I stick that down to kind of shift the die cut a little bit, because sometimes when I put it down it's not in the exact spot, and if I use a tape runner, especially on this pattern paper, and try to pull that up, that pattern paper is gonna get completely wrecked. So again, using the tweezers to position those little itty bitty eyes, they are super tiny, and I end up just getting frustrated if I try to use my fingers. So attaching those with liquid adhesive as well. And these animal toppers come with paws for the bear and little hooves for the deer, so I thought it'd be fun to die cut the hooves in black and put them on that bottom edge of the parcel box. And those are also attached with liquid adhesive. And you see I have my Nuvo drops out. And so I wanted this deer to be Rudolph. So I pulled out my red Nuvo drops, and I'll include the link to the color down below, and proceeded to make a red nose on this little guy. And so if you've never used the Nuvo drops before, I would suggest that you try using them, try practicing with them first. Ask me how I know, but sometimes if you push too hard or there's a clot or anything in the nozzle of that, it is going to squirt out so fast and it will destroy your project, and you don't want that to happen, especially when you've gotten this far in. So once the eyes and the nose on this little guy dried, I pulled out my red twine and slipped it through the back of the parcel box and tied it shut. Now this parcel box comes with a variety of closure options, but for this particular project I just wanted to show you a quick little way to create a closure on the back of it. I'll be showing one of the included closure options in the next project. For my final project, I'm using the parcel box die again. I die cut it from some 80-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock. To add the sentiment for this project, I put the parcel box in my MISTI stamp positioner and pulled out the Merry Christmas sentiment from the Essentials by Ellen WARE 2 and stamped it in a red dye ink. It's stamped in cherry by the Stamp Market for this project, but you could also use Tulip Red by VersaFine Claire. They're very similar. They're my go-tos when I'm looking for a Christmassy red during the holidays. So once my sentiment was stamped, I snipped the corners of that shorter flap at a diagonal, just like I did in the previous project. And then took my detail scissors and snipped the tiny flaps as well so that they would fold easily. And then folded the project on all the score lines that are made with the die. I die cut the houses from the Essentials by Ellen Home and Hearth die set using that same red and white striped paper from the holiday collection by Avery L. And I die cut them so that the stripes ran horizontally across the houses. I thought that was a cute little touch. And I placed them along the bottom of the parcel box just below the sentiment. Then I took the circular die cuts and located them on the longer flaps and pierced the paper using a paper piercer and positioned them with some silver brads. Then I cut some red twine and wrapped it around those little circular tabs to create a closure for the back of this parcel box. Now I could have left this project just like this and it would have been fine, but I wanted to add another layer of contrast to this project. So I pulled out some high sequins called black stars and layered them on the front of this project using some on-point glue. I love these little stars because they come in a wide range of sizes in that little packet, but they are hard to manage with just using your hands. So I like to pull out a pair of tweezers and position them on my project fronts using the on-point glue. And what I like to do is just dab a little bit of the glue and then layer the sequin on top of that, as opposed to putting the glue on the sequin itself and then trying to adhere that. So once I located all these little stars, that completed my project. And there you have 3 packaging ideas for your gift cards. I hope you enjoyed this process video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can find links to all the products I use in the description below. or you can find the blog posts on the Ellen Hutson blog. Thanks for stopping by today and have a great day.